So, you want to get into the Fate series, but you don't know where to start. Maybe you watched a cool edit, maybe you came across a Reddit post, maybe you found it somehow, maybe a friend recommended it to you, but you don't know where to start. Or they gave you a watch order but you want a different opinion. Well, this video is going to give you that different opinion and a watch order that is, in my opinion, the best way to watch Fate when it comes to the anime. Contrary to what people believe, it is actually really simple to get into the Fate series and start. It is not difficult at all. Today I'm going to break it down, like the entire series and how you should watch it. So first of all, most basic thing, and let's just get it out of the way. A lot of people recommend that you read the visual novel Fate Stay Night first because it is the best way to understand the characters, the interactions, everything that is in Fate Stay Night. However, this is the only consensus, by the way, that the community agrees on, that this is the best way to consume Fate. However, we have to also come to consensus that not everyone is going to have enough time to read the visual novel or even watch the visual novel online because it is a commitment. A visual novel is basically a novel with visuals, with pictures, and it is difficult to put that much time or to commit like a lot of us did. The anime, they skip a lot of things over from the visual novel. The whole purpose of the visual novel is that it has 3 routes. It has the Fate route, the Unlimited Blade Works route, and Heaven's Field route. The 3 routes all have 3 different female leads or love interests for Shiro, and all 3 routes inspect Shiro and his ideals under 3 different lights. They dissect Shiro as a character. The anime cannot capture this one-to-one at all because the visual novel is from a first-person perspective. That means you're playing as Shiro, which is why you actually hear his thoughts. Not hear technically, you read them, and that is why you cannot enjoy Shiro as much as a character in the anime as you can do in the visual novel, because if you had to like translate this one-to-one into the anime, literally whatever is happening in the anime would need to be stopped for Shiro's thoughts, and that would not be a watchable experience. So some things had to be cut out. But let's get into the watch order. Here's the watch order I personally recommend because I think it is the best way to watch the Fate Stay Night series. Here's how you should start. You should watch the Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works anime. Then you should watch the Fate Stay Night Heaven's Field movies 1, 2, and 3. Follow this up with Fate Stay Night 2006 Studio Dean anime. And then lastly, finish it up with Fate Zero. Now, here's why I recommend this watch order. First of all, I understand a lot of people will be like, but Fate Zero is the prequel. No, Fate Zero is technically not a direct prequel. What do I mean by that? It takes place in a different timeline. It is indirect canon. There are discrepancies between the 4th Holy Grail War that we see in Fate Zero and the 4th Holy Grail War that leads to the events of the Fate Stay Night visual novel. And that's why it is not a one-to-one canon. It is an indirect canon. In other words, it takes place in a different timeline. That's what I'm trying to say. Not only that, these discrepancies, they are ranging from mild to extreme. For example, some characters completely change, and for that, people like have a different opinion on them entirely. I know it's complicated, but just know that it takes place in a different timeline. However, you can still watch it to get a rough idea because the characters, the masters, the servants, they were all the same. However, some events were different, is what I'm trying to say. But you can still get the full picture by just watching the Zero anime. So, with Zero out of the way, let's talk about why I recommend Unlimited Blade Works first. The reason why I say that is because 1, it animates the prologue. 2, it is made by Ufotable and has really decent animation, what people say. You can watch it and you won't feel like it is old anime. The main part and the main reason I recommend it is because it animates the prologue, and the prologue is in sort of like an important thing for you to understand and get context from. The next thing is that it is probably the closest adaptation without having a lot of liberties or side stuff from other routes into it. Now granted, it also is not a perfect adaptation, but it gets the job done. Next up, you watch the Fate/Stay Night Heaven's Field movies, and I know the Heaven's Field movies skip a lot of stuff from the visual novel, but it still gets the message across. So you can watch the movies to get a rough idea. And lastly, you should watch the Fate/Stay Night 2006 anime before you watch the Fate Zero anime, because 1, it deals with Saber as a character. Without it, the only way you can get anything regarding Saber is by either watching Fate Zero or the mild flashback scene that is in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. and the Unlimited Blade Works scene doesn't do her justice at all, and Zero, as mentioned before, has discrepancies, and she's not even the same character. She is not even counted as the same character in the official poll by Type Moon. Zero Saber was counted as a different character entirely than the Fate Stay Night Saber, and to put it in perspective, the Fate Stay Night Saber won the poll, yes, and the Fate Zero Saber came 119th. I am not kidding you, that's what happened. But aside from that, when it comes to spin-offs, the next thing that you should be watching is Fate Apocrypha. After that, you can watch Lord El-Melloi. After that, you can watch Fate Extra. Now, Fate Extra takes place in a different timeline. Again, not going to spoil too much about the timeline. There's only one anime out that you can watch currently, and that is the Fate Extra Last Encore. Now, again, Last Encore is not a perfect adaptation. It is an adaptation of Fate Extra, but again, it is not a perfect adaptation as mentioned before. The Fate Extra timeline has different games in it. We have the Fate Extra game, we have the Fate Extra CC, we have Fate Extella, and Fate Extella Link. But as I mentioned before, we're talking only about anime, so we're gonna have these things on the side for now. So you watch the Fate/Extra Lost Encore anime. Then you can watch the Fate Grand Order animes. And the Fate Grand Order anime is where it kind of gets a little more sort of like you have to watch it in a sequence kind of thing. But it is like the easiest sequence you can possibly follow. How do you start it? Basically watch the movie called Fate/Grand Order First Order. Then you watch the movie Fate/Stay Night Divine Realm of the something something Camelot, Wandering Agatram. And then you watch the movie Fate/Grand Order Divine Realm of Camelot Paladin Agatram. After that, you watch the Fate/Grand Order Babylonia anime, and after you watch the Babylonia anime, you wrap it all up with the Fate/Grand Order Final Singularity Grand Temple of Time Solomon, and that is it. That is the Fate Grand Order sequence. Then you can watch Fate/Prisma Illya series. And this is also where things kind of get complicated, but not too much. You start with the original Fate/Kaleid Linear Prisma Illya anime, then you follow it up with Fate/Kaleid Linear Prisma Illya Two-Way Hers, or I don't know how you say that. Then you watch the Fate/Kaleid Linear Prisma Illya Three-Way. Then you watch Fate/Kaleid Linear Prisma Illya movie Wow in the Snow. And lastly, you wrap it up with Fate/Kaleid Linear Prisma Illya movie Licht Nameless Girl. These names, man, Anyways, basically all you have to do is that you have to watch the Stay Night anime first, and then you watch the other animes as however you want. So after you watch the Stay Night anime, you can watch Linear Prisma Illya animes, you can watch Fate Grand Order, you can watch Fate Apocrypha. Basically what I'm trying to say is that after you watch that, you can just go to any spin-off and you can get a rough idea of what is going on here. After you watch the Stay Night, my personal recommendation to you people is that you watch Apocrypha. From Apocrypha, you watch Lord El-Melloi II, which is a sort of like a detective sort of anime. After which you can watch Fate/Strange Fate. As of right now, as in me making this video, Fate/Strange Fate has not aired yet. Once it airs, you can actually watch it sooner. In fact, you can watch it before Apocrypha or after Apocrypha. You can watch the original Fate/Stay Night 3 routes, Fate Zero series, and you can watch the Lord El-Melloi case file series to get a better understanding of what happens in Fate/Strange Fate. Though you don't definitely need to watch case files, it will just make you have a better experience all in all. And then you watch the Fate/Grand Order animes, and then you wrap it up with, like Kaleid if you want to watch it, or you can watch Kaleid before Grand Order. I would personally recommend you watch Kaleid before Grand Order, and then you watch Grand Order. Either way, spin-offs can be watched in any way. However, there are some spin-offs I highly recommend to you people. Like, you have to watch these spin-offs because they are so good. These are the Carnival Phantasm spin-off, which is basically a combination of all of Nasuverse characters. It includes characters from other works of Nasu Sensei, who is the creator of, or at least the main writer of Fate series. It includes characters from Tsukihime. It includes characters from the Fate series. So Carnival Phantasm also has sequels. I will mention their sequels as well on the screen that you can watch after you watch Carnival Phantasm. But aside from Carnival Phantasm, another series that I recommend that is actually super laid back, super enjoyable, it is Today's Menu for Emiya Household. It is a cooking show with Fate characters. It is a very wholesome anime. It doesn't have, like, you don't need to watch Carnival Phantasm or Today's Menu for any, like, story. You only watch this because they're just fun, laid back animes that are just absolute chill. And I highly recommend these two anime to you people. After that, there are like mangas, there are games that you can get into, and maybe I'll make a whole like timeline of where all of these things like takes place and how all of this works. So yeah, that is like the whole watch order of Fate. It is not complicated at all. At least the anime part of it is not. When you include manga, the games, the other things into it, yes, it gets sort of crazy. With that being said, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll probably make a video about the different games that are in the Fate series, and I'll also tell you guys like where these games are on the timeline. It's not actually that complicated. The only game that actually has some form of a story going on that you actually legitimately have to like play multiple games to get is the Extra series. Aside from that, Fate/Samurai Remnant is a completely separate thing. We have other games which are almost completely separate things, and there are some very obscure games that I don't think a lot of people even know that they exist. So yeah, look out for that video too. Like the video, share it with people, and yeah, subscribe. It'll also motivate me a lot to do better, make more videos on Fate. With that being said and done, adios.